Thank you for tuning in to Brand Plus TV. We are glad that you're watching. It is the end of the working week, and we do hope it has been a productive one for you. I am Karanja Daniel, ready to bring you up to speed with all the news causing waves across the globe. And as you know, we are all about business. Here's a glance of all the news making headlines in the business world. China International Import-Expo briefing. It's a delicate balancing act.
Well, I think the royalty collection is becoming simpler in some ways, and in other ways continues to be difficult.
Second Access Conference 2018. Singing all the way to the bank.
Welcome to Christmas Deal Store. Shopping and drive eating.
Tuskys supermarkets launch Christmas Deals Power campaign. The Chinese embassy in Kenya has today held a media briefing to give an update on the first China International Import-Expo exhibition that took place earlier this month in Shanghai. The President, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, attended the expo where he met his Chinese counterpart, Xi Jinping. They reached an agreement on several issues that climaxed with the signing of 3 important MOUs concerning bilateral trade relations. Our reporter Daisy Wambua attended the briefing and brings us the details.
While recognizing the success of the world's first import-themed national-level expo, Mr. Li Zhuhang, charged the affairs of the Chinese embassy to Kenya, stated that China is determined to open up and continue strengthening cooperation, which will in turn promote trade in both countries.
Fruitful commercial result was reached, with total trade deals of almost $58 billion. The huge success of the world's first import expo forever has fully demonstrated China's determination to further open up and the world's strong desire to strengthen cooperation and promote global trade.
He went on to point out the memorandum of understanding signed by the heads of state of the two countries.
During the expo, China and Kenya signed 2 MOUs. One, the establishment of a working group on promoting bilateral trade, and the other, cooperation on the sanitary and phytosanitary measures. It's also called SPS, which paves the way for Kenyan agricultural products to enter the Chinese market. The two sides also signed an SPS protocol on the export of Kenya stevia to Chinese market. I'm very glad to know that.
He continued to highlight the great potential of Kenya-China trade cooperation, owing it to the fact that China is committed to open up the market to Kenyan exports.
On the other hand, Kenya provides a variety of unique and good quality products which are much needed by Chinese market. Therefore, there is much to do ahead to fully tap the potential and bring tangible results for Kenya and Chinese people.
Besides expanding the Kenyan exports to China, China International Import-Expo exhibition also created a platform for Kenya to continue attracting Chinese investment that will in turn boost economic development.
Apart from expanding Kenyan export to China, the CIIE has also provided an excellent platform for Kenya to attract Chinese investment. Guangdong, a big company named Guangdong Silk Tex Group of China, has announced its plans to set up a silk processing plant and a silk farm in Kenya, which are expected to create over 300,000 jobs in Kenya, and also create $1 billion for foreign reserve for Kenya annually. And right after the expo, I was told, the embassy are informed that 3 big Chinese delegations are coming to Kenya looking for business and investment opportunities. They are organized respectively by the Council of Promoting South-South Cooperation of China, and also provincial government of Anhui and Zhejiang province. And they will bring altogether around 200 Chinese entrepreneurs coming with these 3 delegations to Kenya.
As Kenya-China trade relations continue to come under scrutiny, it is our hope that with the MOUs signed, the tide shall start turning, and with it, the achievement of a favorable balance of trade for the Kenyan country. Reporting for Brand Plus TV Business News, I am Daisy Wambua.
Now, today marked the last day of the 3rd Kenya Alliance of Resident Associations held at the Sarit Center, Nairobi. As the curtains fell, the plenary sessions revolved around green technology and affordable housing.
To the point that some of it is actually even sold.
Speaking at the conference, John Kabuye, Vice Chairman, Kenya Green Building Society, noted that there has been a steady growth in the uptake of green technology in the construction industry.
What I can say right now is that green building is still in its novice stages, but then it's picking up very fast and very quickly. What I can say, I can actually confirm that with the number of green buildings projects actually registered to be certified as green buildings through the various international standards that we currently know. For example, like Green Star and LEED, which stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. So based on our records at the Kenya Green Building Society, we have a growing number of projects which are actually being registered, and we believe slowly by slowly actually the green building movement is catching up. More and more people want to build green because they want to have more responsible buildings which are much more responsible to the environment as well as to the climate, because we're in an era where we're experiencing a lot of our climate change.
Now, most of us definitely know, especially...
However, there is still a long way to go since the building industry does not take into consideration resource efficiency and resource regeneration.
Our current housing delivery system doesn't take into consideration resource efficiency and resource regeneration. What do I mean by those two terms? Resource efficiency means using less of the resources that we are available to us to actually use in developing buildings. And resource regeneration means that how do we take the resources that we've already used to come up with the buildings to regenerate and make them regenerative. For example, how do we look into the climate, or how do we get in things like solar photovoltaics? How do we use what we call our waste into materials that we can actually reuse, or we can actually recycle, or we can actually resell, and we get money which helps us to actually run our places. So in other words, when we repurpose what was previously waste, we're actually regenerating some material. Instead of it being dumped, we're actually reusing it, giving it some extra life and extra purpose for some money.
Or expensive for them to actually get.
To this end, Kennedy Tembo, Technical Manager After Sales Robert Bosch East Africa, said the government equally has a role to play, stating that it could introduce tax incentives to promote the use of green energy.
The first incentive which the government can offer is to fully exempt duty and VAT on any renewable energy generation method or technology. And this includes solar thermal, solar voltaic, or wind energy, or any other renewable energy source of technology.
For example, we are in this building.
However, for any city or country to go green, Kabuye pointed out that there must be a behavioral shift in its dwellers.
One of the key things that we need first is a behavioral change. Behavioral change where people actually accept to live within their means and to be much more environmentally conscious. And that will mean that people will be more responsive instead of being reactive. In other words, they'll be more responsive towards the environment. They want a cleaner environment. They want better places, healthier places, places where they can actually live, work, and play. So once we have that, once we have this behavioral change, you will see them actually adopting these green building principles that we are actually talking about. And once they adopt them, you will see tremendous improvement in the kind of living spaces and playing spaces and working spaces that we currently have in Nairobi, and we'll have much more greater, smarter, and better cities for us in future.
So imagine a difference of
In 2010, the government passed a law that required all buildings that use over 100 liters of water to be fitted with solar power for water heating. The implementation of the law began last year. This is hopefully one of the many steps the government is taking towards a more sustainable housing future. For Brand Plus TV, I'm Mundiro Oganga.
district system where you have a master plan area.
On that green note, let us head for a short commercial break, but do make sure you stay with us because we shall be telling you or letting you know why it will pay off to shop till you drop this festive season. Welcome back. We're glad you're watching, and of course, we're giving you the most exclusive and comprehensive business news. Now, we turn our focus to matters music. The second edition of the Music in Africa Conference for Collaborations, Exchanges and Showcases, Access, was held today at the Kenya National Theatre. Today's event was centered on the intricacies of making it in the music industry.
Royalties, one of the biggest ways of revenue collections for artists, and Africa is not short of either artists or good music. So, where do we stand in terms of royalty collections?
Africa has collected this year 75 million euros. This is coming from 37 copyright societies spread over 31 African countries. This is a good news, but the bad news is this is really low compared to the actual potential of the Africa creative music industry.
Eric, as a high school student.
However, with the rest of the world performing well on this front, what might be holding Africa back?
A number of actors are holding back. You may, first of all, need to look at the legislative framework, the legal framework in a number of countries. Let me take the example of the private copying. The private copying enable authors to perceive small royalty from devices serving for copies of works. And in Africa, as of today, only 6 countries have in place a legislation enabling to collect royalties on those devices out of 54. So we need to look at the legislative framework. The other hurdle we may need to look at is licensing of big players, big users like broadcasters. We have conducted a survey as CISAC in Africa in 22 countries, and what came out is only 40% of radios and 30% of TVs are paying royalties. It means we are missing royalties coming from 60% of radio and 70% of TVs. Definitely, we need also to see how we need to address the issue of licensing of broadcasters.
My participation in every musical.
To reverse this trend, renowned musician Eric Wainaina said it's high time proper systems of revenue collections be put in place so that musicians can earn their dues.
There can be no corruption in that situation at all, and there needs to be absolute transparency and investing in the best software to make that happen. Like, for example, when I was in college, my professors used to talk about you buy a hard disk, for a really cheap hard disk. When one is more expensive, one is cheaper, but you're going to put literally years of work on this little cheap device, right? And so it's better to invest in the thing that for sure is going to work for you. And so it's important for us to do the right research, get the right bidders to come and present the systems that they have that we can use, and put them into operation.
I have the great honor.
Eric further emphasized that artists need not only to depend on their royalties as their source of income.
I have broadened my revenue streams. There are at least between 8 and 10 different revenue streams that I depend on. And so some of them are quite reliable, like, for example, the work that I've done with Tinga Tinga. There's 4 royalty checks that come every single year, and it's clear. They come in April, they come in July, they come in October, and come in December, and that happens through PRS, which is the collecting agency in the UK, and that's very reliable. Skiza comes monthly, that's reliable. But I think that while we wait for revenue collection to be streamlined, I would encourage artists and composers and producers to broaden their revenue streams, so they're not only depending on one thing, and that will reduce their frustration.
The same sentiments were echoed by accomplished music producer Eric Musyoka of Decimal Records, who pointed out that there are other means of making money from music.
Licensing, brand management, merchandising, and performances. Definitely performances the bulk of the money, but you can expand your market. You can license your songs to catalogs for publishing.
If he doesn't want to accept that.
To achieve this, Musyoka was emphatic that an artist must position themselves strategically in the market.
It's an issue of positioning yourself and understanding where your audience is and how to capitalize on. One thing you must understand is that music in itself is not the product. You, the artist, are the product. Yeah. So your music is a tool to help you sell something else. Yeah. So you can see what Jay-Z has done with his music. He sold his brand using music. So you can use music as a carrier to try and do other products. Dr. Dre is selling headphones. Why does Reebok get musicians to endorse their shoes? Yeah. Because music is just a passion point. It's the easiest passion point on mankind. Sports and music go hand in hand. They're just whatever points. When you go to look at how Man City is making their money, the bulk of their money doesn't come from gate collection, guys coming to watch the ball. It's licensing that match to TV station, commercializing their merchandise and commercializing their brands and merchandising. Same thing with music. So that we have to look at it from that angle. Don't just think I'll make the song and this song, I'm going to sell it and make money. There's that aspect. It's not a wasted product, but use it to scale up and move to bigger things.
Another key area that determines the amount of revenue an artist makes from music is the quality of the production. To this end, Nick Loader, a sound engineer, said that artists must invest in their art before putting it out to the world.
I think it plays a big role, the higher quality the production and recordings are, the more impact they'll have, not just in the local market, but internationally, which will play a big part in bringing forward the industry here in East Africa.
With musicians currently crying foul of the Nigerian takeover and most recently Bongo, Musyoka laid bare the bitter truth.
There's no discord. Yes, the market is now bigger and there are more louder vendors. It's that simple. You just need to go back and... the guy who shouts Mare, 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 he's the guy who sells the most merchandise. So that's how I look at it. It's just that the competition is now way higher. There are way more people in the market. So you have just to stand out. And it takes a lot of effort. And you must know where to position yourself so that you stand out and be counted among the greatest.
Music might not be a lucrative venture for many artists currently, but hey, music worldwide has made artists like Jay-Z, P. Diddy, Beyonce, Michael Jackson, Adele, Taylor Swift, among many others, dollar millionaires. Question is, are their Kenyan counterparts willing to invest in their craft? Food for thought. For Brand Plus TV, I'm Undiro Oganga.
So there we were working together professionally.
Regional retailer Tuskys Supermarket has partnered with other big brands such as Safaricom, Coca-Cola Company, among others, to launch Christmas Deals Power campaign. that is aimed at rewarding customers throughout the festive season. The campaign, which is worth over 150 million shillings, is set to roll out in all 57 stores in the country and will see customers get rewarded with various prizes, among them 38 cars. Our reporter Daisy Wambua brings us more details.
Welcome to Christmas Deals Store, shopping and drive eating.
Speaking at the launch of the festive season campaign, Tusker Mattresses Group Managing Director Dan Githua outlined the need for people to understand a brand and its ethics for them to accept its product offering.
You cannot be exemplary in what you do if people do not know your brand and the business ethics that you stand for. We are proud that our efforts, hard work and determination is delivering world-class products, services, and excellent customer service to our people.
Andy from Unga Limited outlined the role that modern trade plays in building brands.
It's also a first in the sense that we haven't had before mall owners getting involved and other service providers, Safaricom, the media getting involved, and also staff as well. So this is a first that has been done in this market, and I think it's going to set the bar higher and higher. We already see a lot of changes in modern trade today, and if you're a brand owner, you know how important modern trade is for us. It's a place where we have to try new things, it's a place where we get the best display, and it's a place where we get to go national quick enough if you work with a wide network like Tuskys.
Joseph Wanjohi, head of large enterprise and public sales at Safaricom, while stating that they expected great things from the campaign, went on to assure a smooth running of the promotion throughout the period.
We've done a lot of work to ensure that the systems work well over this period of time, so you'll have a seamless experience when you pay with M-Pesa.
Dr. Dashan Chandaria, CEO and Director of Chandaria Industries, noted the need for such campaigns in the entrepreneurship space.
It is really campaigns like this that bring stakeholders together. You know, we have the biggest retailer in the country bringing the biggest suppliers, the biggest manufacturers, all of them, you can see on the boards behind you. When they come together, everybody in the economy benefits, right? And it's a great way to say thank you to all of our customers who throughout the year have been supporting, our business by buying our brands.
As the festive season begins, brands are pulling all stops to not only be visible to the customer, but end up in their shopping baskets as well. This is to hoping that this will only mean good times ahead for the shopper. Reporting for Brand Plus TV Business News, I am Daisy Wambua.
We now shift gears and take a look at how the markets performed today. Here is a summary. Well, that is just a summary of how the markets and various counters performed. But for a more in-depth analysis of the same, do tune in every weekday from Monday to Friday at exactly 8 a.m. in the morning for my next big bet with Rachel Nderito and myself. Let us now take a look at the weather report. Well, that's it from our business news desk tonight, but do make sure to tune in at 9 p.m. on Monday for a fresh serving of news making headlines in the business world. From myself and the entire production crew that made this news possible, we do wish you a good night and do enjoy your weekend.